Are you ready for more action?
I know I am. Coming up are Chinedu and Ibipo, affirmative and negative respectively.
May I remind my opponent that the bulk of the history we know today is out of Western exploration and inquisitiveness of the West. Large African communities and cultures were largely non-scriptural. But whether Africans were cultural before the incursion is not the issue. Whether Africans had strong values and communal customs is not the matter. Whether African culture now appears culturally damaged after the incursion is not in contention either. The problem, the question we ought to answer is, why was this culture unable to stem the Western incursion? A solid culture is one that stands its own against external attack. One that protects its people from exploitation, one that has tools for self-preservation, self-perpetuation of its own values. Where is the African culture? The West came here to scramble and plunder, but it met a fertile soil of cultural weakness and even backwardness. We were all too ready to welcome and indeed worship the white man. African rulers have not stepped to the occasion, governed by fear, greed, and superstition. And this still continues today in infinitely more devastating ways.
Ibipo, I always like you as a speaker. I think you're a very good speaker and you have great use of diction and all the rest. We talked about culture as being a tool of self-preservation, and that if our culture was well integrated, the West would not be able to come and erode this culture, which I thought was a very good argument.
Ibipo, fundamentally, I like the way you say to blame the West for Africa's woes is a sign of self-pity and weakness, and we need to reappraise our culture. I believe that there are certain elements in our culture that still exist and that are still useful, and we should stop using the West as an excuse to stop self-interrogation. Well done, both of you, on a very challenging topic.